प्रोफेसर महेश शर्मा जी हमारे संस्थान के वास्तव में तो साहित्य के चिकित्सक हैं, लेकिन हम इन्हें कहते हैं मैन ऑफ चैलेंज। बेसिकली आप इन्हें किसी भी पोर्टफोलियो को आप सौंप दीजिए, उसको जितने अच्छे ढंग से निभाते हैं। अब इस मेरे संस्थान में ऐसा कोई नहीं है। इनका बायोडाटा आप जो है बेसिकली राजस्थान के रहने वाले हैं और राजस्थान का जो करेज होता है वो इनके पास है, और इंग्लिश के प्रोफेसर हैं। हमारे IQC इनका सबसे बड़ा हमने देखा था नैक की जो विज़िट हुई थी, और उसमें आपने जिस चैलेंज के साथ हमारे इंस्टीट्यूट को A ग्रेड दिलाया, ये सिर्फ महेश शर्मा के कंधों का वो था। बायोडाटा इनका बहुत है, आप लोग सब लोग पढ़ लीजिएगा, मैं बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं समझ लूँगा। महेश शर्मा जी से रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि आप जो है अपने टॉपिक पर हम लोगों को लाभान्वित करें। धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सर। Thank you so much. Without any further ado, I would, with the permission of the chair, would like to start, because initially when this plan was being chucked out, I made it very clear that actually you must be wondering that what a professor of English literature is doing in medical seminar. So let me first try to contextualize this. After post-pandemic era, one of the most important aspects which has inevitably entered in any form of discipline of medical sciences is touch. You know that pandemic automatically had created a kind of phobia related with touch. And we in William Shakespearean word would say to touch or not to touch the patients became the most important question. This question was not only the question related with culture, socio-economy, but it was immediately related with how compassion, the notion of touch in Tibetan Buddhism, can also be related with money making or money saving. I'll come back to that later. But then because I am ordered by our dean, respected dean, Dorje Damdullah, कि आपको ये lecture दो part में बांटना है, as I also get the opportunity, besides being the professor in English department, to chair IQAC in the capacity of being the coordinator. Along with that, I am the research and development cell coordinator also here. So in that capacity, first I would like to talk to you about 30 minutes or so about the research things, research areas, research domain, the kind of research which is available for the students, PhD scholars. And then I would like to see the research trends emerging in Sowa Rigpa and Tibetan medicine field. And that's where I will try to make the case that today, any one of you need not to be an expert in medical sciences to do your research in medical sciences. Even in humanities also, the craft and art of storytelling, listening. So let's go to the basics. When we talk about Tibetan medicine, what is the most important thing? The most important thing is it starts with touch, and a touch has got two kind of multidimensional artifacts. One is you touch, which is a diagnostic touch. You feel, where the self becomes literally the other. A Tibetan or a Sowa Rigpa practitioner takes a lot of time until the self becomes a other, and it is part of two book projects which are going to be published with Routledge, where I'm working. One book project is the concept of Tibetan medicine and medical humanities, Sowa Rigpa and medical humanities. I'll be telling you what I'm doing in that. And the second is the comparative analysis of dream analysis in Tibetan medicine and Sigmund Freud and Jacques Lacan's dream analysis, where I'm trying to prove that before even the Western civilization could think about dream analysis, there was a deeply rooted, authentic reservoir already available in Tibet. So the aim is, I consider as a teacher in this university, my utmost responsibility that the rise of Tibetan medicine, Sowa Rigpa, should be not only be addressed and delivered to the audience, which is already aware about that. So when I'm making this presentation, it seems that you already know this. I want to bring it out of the flock to those people who are not aware about Sowa Rigpa, especially in English literature department, where they think that the importance of storytelling, importance of listening is limited only for literature. Medical humanities, and especially the narrative medicine, another branch where Sowa Rigpa can make a great contribution is, A, I told you touch is very important. B, what is the most important thing in Tibetan medicine? When a patient comes to you, you listen very carefully. And remember, when the patient is coming to you, patient is traumatized. How do you define trauma? trauma is that dangerous aspect in your brain where two things. One, it doesn't enable you to express yourself. So where your patient is there and let's say he's in the 4th stage of cancer, and if you're asking that patient will not be able to tell you coherently the entire story. There'll be breaks, there'll be pauses, there will be silence, there will be a training which should be given to the teacher that they should know how to read between the lines. You should know how to interpret even what that patient is not capable to say or don't want to say. That's why literature comes into picture, because literature teaches doctors, patient, caregivers, nurses how to interpret the text, how to add 2 plus 2 doesn't become 4 in literature, it can become 44, it can become 1000 and so. And then after listening to the story of the patients, the most important thing which is in narrative medicine is, what about the people who have come with patient? Do you think that they also go through a kind of trauma? It became very personal to me because 4 years back, my mother, after pandemic and a year just before that pandemic, we got a very sad news, which was a kind of traumatic news. We are still suffering with this, that her both kidneys got failed. And she immediately came on dialysis. As an English professor, I was already aware about what was dialysis. But the day when I took her to hospital and I saw the entire blood of my mother's body coming out of in front of my eyes, going through a machine, the sound of the machines, the pain of everybody who was lying on the bed, not only their stories, but the stories of the caregiver who were coming with them, the stories of the people and the family members, the kind of economical crunch they were facing, everything became very personal to me, and I started to collect it. I started to collect the importance of touch. I started to collect the stories of the patients when they come to the doctor. I started to even record the stories of the people who are coming with the patient. And you know, dialysis takes more than 4 to 5 hours. Sometimes you have to give an entire day. And my mother has to go through the dialysis thrice in a week. So it's like one day she's at home, another day she feels very weak, where she cannot even say anything, and next day again we have to take her to dialysis. So I am trying to propose here and make an open case here that please, some of you, those who are planning to do your research, and specifically for the students, please start to enter embarking in a new area which is emerging, which is considered as health humanities or medical humanities, and it has become an essential paper in India with the implication of new education policy, where any student of Sowa Rigpa now can pick up one paper from literature, one paper from fiction, and I'm very happy to tell you that we are few of those rarest of the rare universities which are introducing the paper on medical humanities to our students. We tell them the stories, even a scar. So when I teach my students Harry Potter also, I try to tell them, what do you think? What is this, a story of Scar? Your favorite hero, the moment he is carrying that scar, or the acid thrown on the face of a woman, do you think that it create a kind of narrative of trauma which can never be, only be documented in medical reports and medical fields? Is it beyond that? That is the case I'm trying to make. But as I told you, in the first initial 20 to 30 minutes, I'll try to tell you a bit about research. And then as the second part of this first presentation, I'll tell you the new area and challenges which in my limited readings of a couple of years, I have come that Sowa Rigpa or Tibetan medicine is facing, specifically in the post-pandemic era. And then I'll try to take you to this concept of Sparsh in Tibetan Buddhism, where I start with the importance of Sparsh, that when Buddha was about to get that epiphany of the realization of enlightenment, Mara comes and Buddha says, if the entire world has to see that I achieved this state, he first touched the earth, Bhumi Sparsh Mudra. And since then, the Sparsh has become a very, very inevitable, important aspect of Tibetan Buddhism, and I'll try to theorize it. It is not something which is related with ethics and it is there in the air. It is not. There is a very well documented theory, and one of the books, as I told you, is trying to put it together so that in a couple of years back, it will be in front of you, so you'll be able to see. So this is officially my first attempt to make it as a kind of presentation so that I can get the feedback also literally from the giants of Sowa Rigpa, because usually as a literature teacher, I make such kind of presentations to non-Tibetan communities, telling them that Tibetan medicine is more than what you think is something which is related with mind, body, overall healing and all. It is more than that. It has a concept of a spiritual touch, it has the concept of karshial touch, it has the concept already available there in Tibetan literature itself. So I have taken the text, two texts which I'm working on as the prison narratives. So in Tibetan community, if you will read the prison narratives, especially Palden Gyatso and so, in their text also the concept of touch is capable to be mixed with the traumatic experience, and the narratology becomes a very, very important thing in this. So anyways, without further ado, the first aspect, I'm going to tell you very briefly about what are the research aspects associated with Sowa Rigpa. First, what are the UGC rules which all of you should be aware about Sowa Rigpa? So just quickly about that. In our university, we offer PhD in 7 Vidya Varidhi. PhD is considered as Vidya Varidhi in 7 departments. There is PhD in Mool Shastra, which is Indian Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, Indian historiography, which is history and culture. But the most important is Sowa Rigpa. Sowa Rigpa right now is conducting, and I'm very happy to declare this, that I had the opportunity that my chair was Dr. A.K. Rai, because he is the coordinator of that research of Sowa Rigpa department also. So it gives me a different kind of link to be associated with him as well. Our first batch started in 2020 and 21, so the batch is still going on. I was told by some of my peers and seniors that probably CISTS is the first to offer the PhD kind of program in India for the Sowa Rigpa students. It was only limited till MD. So that also gives us both a great responsibility, that first time when the PhD is given, my job is to ensure that it is given according to rules. Because most of the time I have this very sour experience with PhD scholars where they don't want to be governed by rules. And I always tell them, I never tell them students officially, but today let me tell officially. Whenever you will go for a job, anywhere in India at least, I, being the research and development cell member secretary, gets a verification call from police and from government, where I have to tick certain check boxes that your PhD is done according to rules. If it is not done according to rules, your PhD, your job will be immediately annihilated. Right? So it can be so dangerous. Let me tell you very, very frankly. Just as a kind of glimpse, if your PhD before submission you have not made your pre-submission presentation, your PhD is considered as fake. Right? So it is very important that once you go for PhD, you should be aware what are the rules and regulations for that. What are the essential do's and don'ts for that. There are certain optional which can be a kind of additional thing, which I am telling you that 4 or 5 areas where we take pride that in our university, we have started as one of the best practices in our university, which you will not find anywhere else. So anyways, let's start with the regulation. This is the gadget regulation. In Indian Gazette, it is, you can Google it, you will find it. Just type minimum standards and procedure for award of PhD degree regulations 2022. When I say Gazette notification, remember it has a legal repercussions associated with that. Gazette becomes a very, very important thing. When something is printed in Gazette and you don't follow it, it automatically becomes an illegal thing. Right? That's what Gazette is different from other kind of documents. What is the eligibility criteria? Well, you have to have 55% in your MA degree, MD degree or master's degree. If you come from any reserved category like SC, ST, OBC, there is a relaxation of more 5%. So if you are in MA, MSc, let me also tell you this thing. You must be wondering why sir is saying MA and MSc. According to the new UGC rule of new education policy, now a student, irrespective of coming from any branch, either you are a BA, you are an MA, you are whatever, you are capable to do whatever course you want to do. So that watertight compartmentalization which was in India earlier, that only a BSc student could do MSc, is no longer applicable now. right? To add insult to injury to us and pleasure to all of you students, you'll be surprised to know now you are allowed to do 2 degrees together. You can do 2 PhDs also simultaneously together legally in India now. Not only that, now a student can even judge what will be the speed of his or her degree. So new education policy and UGC has come up with amazing, kind of speeding up the things for the students, which time will tell us, are they going to be fruitful or it's going to be a kind of curse for the students? I don't know right now. So the eligibility is 55%. If reserved categories, 50%. And then University Vice Chancellor has the power to relax it further according to the intake of the students. We take students in 2 semesters. One is the notification comes out in July. The second notification comes out in January. So let's say you cleared it in July, and an assistant professor in a university can take only 4 research scholars under him, associate professor 6, and professor 8. So if the seats are already filled, we don't give the notification for PhD. That is the case with us, not in Sowa Rigpa, but we are suffering with Tibetan language, where Lakpa Sharing being the only assistant professor now, we are not capable to give the PhD notification, and research scholars get angry, why you are not opening research, degrees and all, and we cannot tell them that there is no seats available. Until somebody will submit, we cannot now issue a new notification. But that is not the case in Sowa Rigpa. Sowa Rigpa has the first batch and we have hardly 5 students, but then we have only one teacher who is right now qualified to be the guide of all of you. So anyways, what is the admission process? Well, admission process across India is now via common entrance test, but right now being a Tibetan university, we don't club with the common entrance test, we take our own entrance test. So you will have to go through the written exam test, which has 70% of weightage, and then an interview which has 30% of the weightage. If you are JRF, if you have cleared your JRF, which I am not sure if there is in Sowa Rigpa or not, it is in Ayurveda, then you don't have to go through any written test. You can go to any university directly with a interview and you can get your admission there. So that was the admission procedure. What is the program duration? This is very interesting because most of the students keep scratching their brain. How many years will I get to do my PhD? Well, you get only 3 years to do your PhD. That is first slot and we try to stop it there. But then in some cases where a PhD scholar is also a teacher, a PhD scholar is a woman and went on a maternity leave or something, it can be extended up to 5 years with the permission of DRC, which is a departmental research committee, which we make for every research scholar. They have to say that yes, this is important and the student can be given 2 more years, especially in jobs. Then your PhD can be extended to 5 years. But after 3 years will stop you, your scholarship will stop, everything will stop. Right? 2 years is given a kind of grace period to you. Then there can be 1 more year in very, very specific cases like pandemic happened, there can be a flood, there can be something, let's say your thesis was eaten up by cows, the kind of excuses which are given by the students here after 5 years कि सर thesis लेके आ रहा था, accident हो गया, thesis जल गई, गाय खा गई सर, तो मुझे 1 साल और चाहिए. So just as a kind of joke, I remembered one of the excuses given by our students. Then 6 years, otherwise 3 years, 5 years, 1 more year in very, very rare chances. For the female, those who come from differently abled quota, where more than 40% of disability should be clearly visible in you, even 2 more years can be given to only them. Right? Because they have to listen to the books, read with the braille and all, those facilities are not available across the globe also. So that is all. Otherwise, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 years to the maximum. So don't think that 6 years, right? It's going to be 3 years or the maximum 5 years in this university. We usually don't develop this habit of extending a student more than 5 years. But after 3 years, for every 6 months, you will have to take permission from R&D cell director, which is luckily our Vice Chancellor is the Director of Research and Development Cell and I work as the coordinator in that department. So that is the program duration. What is the First 6 months, why they are important? Because in the first 6 months, you will have to finish your coursework. Now it has got extended to 1 year because UGC, according to the regulation of 2018, the coursework was only of 8 credits. Now they have increased it up to 16 credits. We have kept it to 12 credits. To finish the 12 credits, we had requested all the departments to develop their departmental courses also. Otherwise, let me cut it short. आपका जैसे ही admission होता है, you have to do one research methodology course. If you are from MPhil, you are free from this. But you will have to provide a proof that in your MPhil you have done research methodology course. Then in research methodology, Indian government 2 years back had added one more course which is of 2 credit, research ethics and publication ethics, which is related with plagiarism and all. The good or bad news is, so far in India there is no plagiarism detection tool for the Tibetan thesis. Right? So Tibetan students tend to enjoy that a lot, but I tell you, in other universities, the plagiarism detection now is imbibed with AI detection. So if you have written a single line with the AI tool, immediately, but the worst part is, all of your thesis, when you submit it, you have to give us a digital copy and it will be uploaded to Shodh Ganga. Shodh Ganga has its own inbuilt anti-plagiarism software, where whatever is your language, it will be forever there. And in India, if you just Google it, even after 10 years, even after 20 years, even after 50 years, if somebody just writes a line that there is a plagiarism in this scholar's thesis, you will be out of your job, you will be out of whatever glamour and whatever position you have got, and there are cases after cases in India like this. So I personally, in our department, we take it very seriously that even if you take 5 years, we don't mind. Don't submit it in 3 years. But please, for heaven's sake, don't try to copy from somewhere and pretend this that I was not aware about plagiarism. Because this is, if you ask me, this is not only ethical, it's literally going to ruin your careers. And forever in your life, you will live your life in fear if you have copied from somewhere. Because these days, the world is changing so fast. And AI, in a second, can tell which line you have taken from which book. Right? So if AI has its own advantages, it has the disadvantages also, right? So the coursework you have to finish. Now let me make it very clear. If you are in job somewhere, right, how do you get a leave from wherever you are working? You have to write a letter to your employer saying, and Indian government has forced every institution that a research scholar, if has got into a job, you have to give them minimum 6 months to 1 year leave. The policies are different. Somewhere after 3 years service they give, somewhere they give immediately after 1 year. At IIT and IIMs, immediately they give you the leave. Why? Because in the NAC accreditation, we have to produce the data, how many teachers you have sent which were non-PhD for the PhD every year, and we get the marks for that. So that also becomes part of that, right? Otherwise, you have to finish your coursework. So let's go through the journey. You get your admission. You write a written exam, you clear the interview, and you are into the system. First 6 months, you don't meet your guide, you don't do anything, you just go and attend the classes, you finish the research methodology course, one course, you finish the second paper, which is the research ethics and publication, you finish the third 2 papers, part of 2 papers, which are departmental courses. So let's say Sowa Rigpa will introduce those courses, and then the internal assessment is done, and then you have to come for comprehensive written exam. There will be an exam where we'll give you question answer. You have to sit in your exam for 3 hours, write the answers, and we declare you pass if at all you pass that, which is comparatively pretty easy to pass because it is only about research ethics, research methodology. Once you are done with this 1 year journey, you start to sit with your guide. Right? So that comes the journey where evaluation and assessment is done. After every 6 months, student has to give the progress report. Earlier, 2 years back, progress report was a kind of everyday activity, you know, a menial work where guide will even not bother that the student is available here or not. They'll say, very good progress, very good progress, very good progress. Now it is not this. Now UGC has given us the clear-cut directions that the student has to be physically available in the university to give 6 monthly progress report seminar, record it and give a link to the UGC that every 6 months R&D cells are organizing these kind of conferences for the students. The good thing is, when you make this kind of presentation, right after 6 months, you are telling your peers, your teachers, everybody else what kind of work I am doing. Remember, there is a very big catch here, and try to understand this. Since there is no plagiarism detector tool, since there is no repository, there is no directory, or there is no place where you upload your thesis. So if you are in Ladakh and somebody is in Bangalore and somebody is at CISTS, in first year are working on the same topic, how will you come to know? Otherwise, what happens in the other universities? First, the guide will tell you, go to Shodh Ganga and type your thesis title. If your thesis title is even a chapter, even a phrase in anybody's thesis, it will show that try to avoid this, because this exactly is already done. If something is already done, or somebody is already doing that work, then what kind of literature gap you are going to prove? Right? That is one problem in Tibetan Sowa Rigpa medicine PhD right now, because there is no archive, there is no depository, right, where all the thesis will be uploaded. And we hope that our university takes this responsibility, which we are working towards this. There will be a Tibetan drive, a repository, where first our students' thesis will be there, and it will be publicly available for all of us, so that whatever chapter, whatever work students have done, everybody will be capable to download it from any part of the globe, and you will know what work is being done, including bibliography, so that the future generation research scholars can save a lot of time, right? And they are already prepared that, okay, this area is already taken by him, that area is already taken by him. I am doing something different, I can contact that person as my senior, my peer, my mentor, or so on and so forth, right? So that is your pre-submission 6-monthly progress report seminar. And let's say you go in your second year, your third year, and after third year, you ask for 1 more year extension. On return, you request, we give you 6 months extension. You make a presentation. If we are happy with your progress, 6 months more, 6 months more, like that you can go up to 5 years. After that, what happens? After that, compulsorily, and this was the red flag which was not followed by Indian University more, a student, before he or she is ready to submit the PhD thesis, before 45 days, has to make a pre-submission open presentation in front of everybody, where the notice for 45 days will be on the notice boards, that person is making a presentation so that everybody can come. This is that last time when even the peers or other people will tell, okay, you are doing a fake work, this work is already done, or these are the problem. Till this date, a research scholar is allowed to change his or her thesis title. After pre-submission is done, we write a letter that the student has done pre-submission. This is the topic. After that, whatever you do, you cannot change your thesis title. This was the last chance where you could change your thesis title. So pre-submission becomes a very, very important thing. Once you are done with your pre-submission, you come to R&D cell with 5 hard-bound thesis according to the style sheet, which is already uploaded on our website for every student. You need to know how to set the margins, how to bound it, how to keep the 12 times New Roman, whatever. In Tibetan also there is a font which is available there. So that you have to follow. After that, you submit it along with a lot of nodules, along with a lot of things where it is compulsory for a research scholar to publish 2 research papers before the submission of thesis from his or her own field. And listen carefully. These are the 2 research papers which will be related with your area, but you cannot take it as it is from your thesis. The verbatim, the vocabulary, the language has to be different. Otherwise, when you give the certificate of originality, कि मेरा thesis बिल्कुल original है, it becomes an illegal thing. Because you have already published the same chapters, the same language. So the research area can be same, but your research articles have to be language-wise different. Yes, 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs you can take from your thesis, the ideas, paraphrase it and try to. So the same research area, but not anything from the thesis. Remember that. Right? Then of course after that it usually goes to the plagiarism thesis checker, where we check it. Remember, this is very important because a lot of students are not aware and they face a lot of problems. In thesis plagiarism checker, your bibliography and your original quotations will be excluded. right? Usually if you will put your entire thesis in anti-plagiarism software, it will tell 30 to 40% of plagiarism based on your bibliography, because you are supposed to copy your bibliography. You cannot create your bibliography out of the blue just like that. So please exclude your bibliography, exclude your quotations, citations, and notes and footnotes, and then your thesis goes for anti-plagiarism software, where a kind of similarity index is found. And after that, you give a notification, you give a declaration that my work is original, your guide gives that, and you submit your thesis. That's all, your work is over. Then we send it to two external. After a month or two, they give their report, and again you have to come back into picture. If out of two, one has said that the thesis is bad, there are major revisions required, then you will be called again, and we will give you 6 months time to resubmit your thesis with the major corrections. If one of them says that, okay, it is good, but the student has to make these kind of changes for the publication or for the future work, and the second says it's absolutely okay, you are called for your defense. This is the final viva voce, your defense, where you have to appear in front of the experts. They come here, one of them will come here, will secretively give your report. Your report is never given to you, neither to your guide. We know what is there in your report. They ask questions from that report. You have to defend your thesis. Once your thesis is clear, you have defended it really well, we just take you for refreshments and sweet distribution, and voila, you become a doctor. You are allowed to keep doctor in front of your name after that. So that is the entire process of PhD here, right? Remember two things which we have added up here. Not only you will have to write 2 thesis papers, you will have to make presentations in 2 seminars also related with your PhD thesis, and you will have to give your proofs related with that, right? So these are the PhD kind of procedure. If any one of you is curious and want to ask me, before I go further in any other chunk, you can ask me any questions, especially the research scholars, if they are sitting here. I told you that besides rule, this is available freely on Google, you can read it. What our university is doing extra is, we with the research and development cell allow our research scholars after 1 year to go for field trips, where we pay right from 50,000 till 1 lakh rupees to the students. In 1 academic year, you can go only once. Second thing, which is also pretty important, if you get a chance to make a presentation in London, Cambridge, Oxford, Australia, anywhere, you come to us 2 months prior, because it takes time. We will also give you the travel and registration grant based on a committee which says that no, this is a good research paper, the student should be sent abroad. So we send you abroad also for that on university's money. So these are 2 extra advantages thing which you get when you are associated with CISTS. Right? Now, usually what happens is, the problems which I have faced, sir, I come here, I'm doing my PhD and I get a job, then what do I do? Well, the rule is pretty clear. You have to minimum finish 2 years residency period. So 1 year is your coursework. You cannot get rid of that. After coursework, you have to submit your mini thesis in 50,000 words. Mini thesis, which is a kind of first draft. If you are done till this and you have completed 2 years, you go for the job. We will convert you from the full-time scholar to part-time scholar. And remember, UGC says clearly in a notification, a part-time or full-time will not be written on your degree when we'll give you. A part-time is also as good as full-time, provided you have done your coursework according to rules. So that is also one good thing. Is there a rule for a part-time PhD? I'm already in job, but I want to do PhD here. Is there a rule in UGC? Yes. It was not till 2022, but in 2022, first time Indian government has added one paragraph that anybody who is in the job, you write a letter to your employer, take an NOC, no objection certificate, which will state 3 things. One is, I will allow that student for a 6 month or 1 year, whatever long is your coursework, to do the coursework. Right? With or without salary, that is none of our concern. That is between you and your employer. Second is, you have to give the scholar the chance that later on, in return we need this, later on when they come back, they will not be given so much of work, they will be capable to do their research that time. If that is given to us in return, we will allow you to do your PhD also if you are already working somewhere else. So that's all about PhD rules, right? Anybody, anything you want to ask, you can. Are we clear? Right? Okay. That's what I told you. We have the field work, grant and leave, paper presentation, travel grant. Our research scholars also get to teach here. We pay for that and they are considered as teaching assistants. And we have created, as I told you, we'll be the first university who is creating a depository for Sowa Rigpa. So with InflipNet, right, we are creating that. All of your thesis will be uploaded, and any research scholar who has submitted PhD thesis here, anybody from entire globe will be able to download and read it. So that is one great initiative our university is going to take. It's already there with Shodh Ganga, but not available for Tibetan students so far, right? Now, I was also told that quickly I will take you through a big problem which one of our chairperson that day, our keynote, our chief guest had pointed it out. He said, where I partly agree with him and I partly don't agree, that compared to Unani, compared to Siddha, compared to Ayurveda, the publications in Sowa Rigpa are less. Well, so far as publication of Sowa Rigpa in English are available, yes, they are less. So far as publication of Sowa Rigpa in visibility are there, yes, they are less, but that is not the case. Sowa Rigpa's publication is in abundance. And let me prove this. I'll tell you two repository where if you go, right, one of that for our research scholars, we freely provide from Central Institute of Higher Tibetan Studies. We pay 20 to 30 lakh rupees annual for that, which is the Gesto database. So one is, I'll quickly tell you, how should you go for finding out the journals and where should you publish? Because that is usually a very big problem. So remember guys, if in this era you are not using AI, not to cheat, but to assist you to find out the journals, a lot of journals have clearly written in their guideline that if you write that I have taken the help of AI for literature review, for making bibliography, it is absolutely okay. Earlier, even writers used to write, I am the first author, my co-author is AI. Now that is squashed by a lot of journals. So please go on that journal, read the guidelines, and then it is written clearly. So usually what you have to do, let me start with something which you may not know. Otherwise all of you publish, you know the process. Please write an abstract first or an idea first and paste it on some journal finders. So there are three great databases. Or you don't have to go individually ki kahan publish karu, kahan. Don't do that. Just go to Elsevier's journal finder, Willie's journal finder, and just paste your abstract. The moment you'll paste it, related with that, if any call is open or any journal is there in that area, the list will come automatically. So you don't have to do anything. Please don't go individually and try to find out kiska khula hai, kiska date over ho gaya. No. Use journal finders, and this anyways I'll tell you, these are the journal finders. This, look at that. Right? So this is Elsevier's and that is Willie's. Journal finder, enter a manuscript title or abstract and then enter keywords. It will give you the entire list of related Sowa Rigpa, whatever journals are there. Right? Since my linguistic competency only allows me to read and do everything in English, so I also have made a list for you, and please submit. And remember, these all are Scopus and Web of Science Index journal. They are not ordinary journals, okay? So you will easily, so use this journal finder or this another journal finder. These are the most important journal finders in the entire globe. They will immediately help you, right? So once you publish this, then you can make your bibliography using a lot of AI tools. And remember, please use two tools. One is Zotero and another is Mendeley. They will automatically, let's talk about a problem, why I'm talking about this. Let's say you have worked hard and written an article and you published it or you sent it to an press or a journal which says write in Chicago manual. And they say after 3 months, no, will not publish. You send it somewhere else and they say, no, Chicago, we take in MLA. And you'll say, oh my God, I have to change everything now to MLA. Don't do that. Just use the AI tools where with one click, they will change everything from 300 different style sheets in the entire world. You don't have to do anything manually. Please don't spend time on this menial work, right? Where students take sometimes 6 months doing that. And I wonder, why are you doing that? The world has changed. Please use the technology for this. And it's absolutely valid. It is allowed. Right? So then I'm telling you some of the repository. One is National Institute of Sowa Rigpa, NISR. You can see I could take only one snapshot. You have the title of the papers and the download button. You can freely download the articles from there. The second and the most important, I want you to look at that carefully. At the top, you can say the access is provided freely by Central University of Higher Tibetan Studies. And I just typed Sowa Rigpa and look at that, how many articles are available. 2,857. Out of that, 243 are the journals in which you can publish. Book chapters, 249. Research reports, 56. Serials, documents, books, images. There is so much of data which is available in your area. Right? So it is not that in Sowa Rigpa there is a lack of publication. There is lack of visibility. So I said I partly agree and I partly don't agree because of this reason. Right? This is the biggest database available at one click, JSTOR, JSTOR, and universities give money for this. We have the subscription of this. You don't have to come to our library from anywhere. You just log in with our password and you are capable to download, even from your home, from Himachal, from anywhere, you can access these articles. Remember, wherever it is written open access, that is freely available for everybody. Right? If you are curious how to do that, that will require another session, right? So that is a part of different thing. Now, can I give you a quick list of the most important journals already available in Sowa Rigpa? So you know there was one journal by this name, Journal of Sowa Rigpa. You'll be surprised to know it published 4 issues and all 4 issues are freely available for Kindle users on Kindle Unlimited. Right? So you go to Amazon, just type Journal of Sowa Rigpa, and this is a very, very interesting journal. I collected a lot of data from that, and it is freely available if you have Kindle. All you have to go on Amazon and do that. Besides that, which are the important one? The first one is Journal of Ethnopharmacology. I have given the description also. The journal publishes articles on the traditional use of plants, animals, and minerals in healing practices, including Tibetan medicine. The second is Frontiers in Pharmacology. Third is Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine, from Edinburgh, popularly known as ECAM. The fourth one is Journal of Traditional and Complementary Medicine. The next is BMC Complementary Medicine and Therapies from Britain. Next is Integrative Medicine Research. Next is Asian Medicine, Complementary Therapies in Medicine, Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine, Traditional Medicine Research. And I can go on because I had limited time, because sir told me recently, I can give you a list of more than 300 journals which are right now publishing. Half of them are in Scopus and Web of Science, so there is no dearth of the research journals which will accept it. And I'm talking about English primarily, because my research is limited with English. I don't know Tibetan, so I cannot search that. Okay, so let me make it again very clear. Whatever I am telling you, this is about the English language journals, right? That is one thing which I want to make clear. Now, are there some areas which are coming up in Sowa Rigpa recently, which we have to, and the challenges? Now this I want to take you very seriously, especially the research scholar and the students who are sitting here. Maybe one of that can become your future research project, right? After pandemic, things have changed drastically, not only for the medical sciences, specifically for medical sciences, because the entire globe felt the crunch of pandemic on healthcare sector. And after that, you have heard the term long pandemic, where nobody wants to go to allopathy, nobody wants to take medicine. So somebody who is feeling for 2 years a headache, 3 years of back pain and all, everybody is going to either Ayurveda, Sowa Rigpa, Unani, Siddha, and so on and so forth. I don't call them alternative medical system. Please don't call Sowa Rigpa alternative medical system. It's not alternative. It is the most documented, scientific, when the world even did not know what is the formation of embryo, right? Almost, if I'll take you to a guideline, I even don't say that it started in the 7th century or it started with, I say that it started as soon as Tibetan civilization started. Because with the birth of any civilization, you will require, yes, by that time it might not have got documented. And by some published reports, do you know how many thousand years back documented history of Tibetan civilization is there? 25,000 years. So Sowa Rigpa has the history of 25,000 years back. Yes, when we teach it in India, we say that until the Ayurveda doctors went to Tibet, the commentaries were written and all that. Well, that is a different kind of history. When you want to prove that it is an alternative, I'm saying it's not alternative. Let's even go before bone tradition. When Tibetan civilization emerged, which is one of the most ancient civilizations. So let's respect Tibetan medical sciences, documented from a different kind of perspective. If you are curious, recently I have come across a very interesting book and I highly recommend all of you read is History of Burial. The history, authentic history in 700 pages, the history of Tibetan medicine. One of the finest books I have ever read on Tibetan medicine so far. Anyways, the first is Beryl. I'm sorry if I mispronounce some. Beryl. So, do you pronounce it Beryl? Yeah. So, History of Beryl. This is the book which has the 700. This is published by classical retranslation of the. I have a copy also of that if some of you want to have a look at that. So, first is, yes, Sowa Rigpa has this challenge and an emergence to integrate with modern science. Now, how would you do that? With the help of pharmacological research, right? As I told you, I have very less time. I want to quickly get rid of this. So I come to my topic, which is very close to me, and I want to talk to you about this concept of sparsh. So these sub notes I'm not reading. This PPT I'll leave with Dorje Damdulji. So any one of you who want to have the links of that and all, you are absolutely free to have access to that, right? It's just for all of you. So integrate with modern sciences, with bioactive compounds, be aware of what is the newly research grant which is making and research areas in which it is making some kind of breakthroughs. Second is, next is genomics and personalized medicine. You know that it is work on NEPA imbalances, right? So if you want to bring it into picture, there is a total new kind of research which has come into picture, which is helping you from the new medical sciences, how you can cope with that. I have a line or two so that you understand the repercussions of that. Then focus on immune health. That was a post-COVID long recovery, I told you, is one of the reasons why people are, like in our university, because I take care of the economical aspects of Sowa Rigpa also, suddenly the cell of Sowa Rigpa department just increased. The footfall of the patients increased, and it was not here. I had a chance to meet the director and the doctors in Delhi with the this Namgyal Institute, Tibetology, Sikkim, and 2-3 more doctors. Everybody, I was very curious. Is it that after pandemic, the long COVID kind of patients are coming? And they said, and there are the giants from this field. I don't have to go anywhere. So think about this. Why is it happening? And this is the right time, the most propitious time. When iron is hot, just hit it. Just hit it with your full pressure. So the entire world can see that Sowa Rigpa has so much of potentiality without no side effects at all. Right? So preventive healthcare, mental health and wellness. As I told you, my second book I'm working on the comparative analysis of Tibetan dream analysis, and which is of course related with lot of mythology rather than with science in Tibetan. But when I was reading it, I had read only Freud and Lacan. When I started to read this, I was like flabbergasted. I was taken aback. I was speechless to see that Tibetan medical sciences have so much to say even about a dream. They have the cultural significance, religious significance, mythologies, and it is related with their identity today in exile. You read recent literature, we measure the earth with our bodies. Even the dreams now are the healing processes for those who had to be derooted from their own country. How it can be a kind of healing process in that value also. So holistic mental health approaches, mind-body integration, digital health and telemedicine. This is, I call a challenge. Please, after post-pandemic era, we are also working in our university using an EPRC. Please allow the doctors to use telemedicine. Telemedicine is what? After post-pandemic, you will see every doctor has hired a third-party app, and doctor is available on app. Go on every website. You just can book a slot of a doctor on the app and can have telecommunication on the phone. On the phone, they can consult you, because everybody will not be able to go to Bangalore or Dharamshala or come to Varanasi, right? Because if people are having intense pain in their joints, intense pain in their back, for that they are, or a paralysis or a cancer story. So these are two, I say, teleconsultations. Sowa Rigpa should take it seriously. Second is mobile applications should be developed. And this, we have written a letter to Indian government also, that you, Ayush government, that take an initiative and create a kind of app where Sowa Rigpa's telecommunication is also available, so that our doctors, now after being registered as the valid practitioners, can do a lot of work, you know, besides those hours where they are sitting in that room also. So the geographical limitation will be kind of curtailed with this. Then you have globalization and adaptation. So, you know, I always give the case studies to my student that Sowa Rigpa must learn from Patanjali a couple of things in India, right? And why to go to Patanjali? You want to learn that Dharamshala wala Mitsikang, you call it. So look at that, the kind of products they have launched. I buy it online. The tea I buy from there, the lotion I buy from there, the hair serum I buy from there, right? So this is what you need to learn. This is not to feel shy about. Look at Patanjali. It has created an entire alternative economical system in India, that it has literally thrown out a lot of. गांधी जी कहते रहे कि स्वदेशी अपनाओ, नहीं अपनाया, हम इंडिपेंडेंट हो गए. 60 साल बाद एक कंपनी ने इस देश का इकोनॉमी बदल के रख दिया, और वो पतंजलि ने करके दिखाया. मैं ऑन रिकॉर्ड अगर आपको, हाँ, एक हैजार्ड भी आया जो सोवा रिग्पा के साथ भी एक चैलेंज, पतंजलि के साथ एक हैजार्ड ये आया कि उनका सबसे ज्यादा क्या बिकता है. पहले दंतमंजन बिकता था और उसके बाद में च्यवनप्राश बिकता है, या फिर उनका एलोवेरा का जेल बिकता है. तो अगर आप हिमाचल, हरिद्वार वाले बेल्ट में जाएंगे ना, इको कल्चर बदल गया है. वहां पे आपको सिर्फ आंवला के पेड़, एलोवेरा के पेड़, क्योंकि जो सबसे ज्यादा बिक रहा है ना, हम लोगों ने फ्लोरा फोना बदल दिया वहां का. उस कारण से कई पक्षी लुप्त हो गए, कई नदियों के रास्ते बदल गए. दैट इज वन प्राइस ऑफ कोर्स एवरीबडी डिड नॉट हैव टू पे, बिकॉज यू डिड नॉट प्लान इट प्रॉपरली, right? And I accuse Patanjali's development for this very openly. Otherwise, this is something which every company should learn from Patanjali, what kind of technological advancement they have adopted to. Cross-cultural training, one thing I always feel is Tibetan doctors now have to be, the other day we were attending a conference by Vijay Kranti ji, and Vijay Kranti ji, who is a very great journalist, said a very beautiful thing. I asked what Indian government should do more for the Tibetan people living in exile, and he said every Tibetan, if you ask them, they only have 2 or 3 friends in their community only. How many friends your students have from outside? That is what doctors, students, everybody will have to learn at least 2 to 3 local languages. Learn languages. This is very important for a doctor, because if a patient is coming, already he or she is traumatic, they are not capable to say, and then you don't understand their language, or they don't understand your language which you are prescribing, it is going to have a limited access then. If you really want to serve the entire world, we'll have to speak in the languages, which is the cross-cultural training should be provided. Sustainability and ethical sourcing, I'll just skip some of the part, environmental, public health and education, chronic and lifestyle disease management, right, with the acute kidney, the chronic kidney, research into adaptogenic and anti-aging therapies. This is also getting a recent trend. A very huge amount of money is being poured in by international companies also for anti-aging therapies. Recognition and standardization, which everybody is facing, our campus is also facing. Before you sell something, you have to standardize the drug, and then you have to get the legal sanctioning and all that from this. I'm coming now to one of my favorite idea. Now, what I could do as English literature teacher in this, I realized that there is one more branch, and you'll be surprised to know, in Oxford, Cambridge, John Hopkins, everywhere now there is this department. And I'll request all of you, if you are interested in this kind of work, please submit your research articles in medical humanities field. You will not only get published with the big names, you will get hell lot of huge grant. Lot of money is coming in with the medical humanities, alternatively health humanities, right? So there are a lot of branches of this. One of that branch is narrative medicine. So I'm going to talk quickly about that. So what is medical humanities? If you are curious कि sir ये क्या है? Medical के साथ, science के साथ humanities क्या कर रही है? Right? So look at that. Medical humanities an interdisciplinary field that explores the intersection of medicine, healthcare and the arts, humanities and social sciences. तो आप सबको तो पता है ना कि कलर थेरेपी से भी लोगों को हील किया जा सकता है, म्यूजिक थेरेपी से भी हील किया जा सकता है, कहानियां सुना के भी हील किया जा सकता है. लेट मी टेल यू वन थिंग. जब हॉलोकॉस्ट हुआ जर्मनी में, तो जर्मनी में लॉट ऑफ किड्स दे कुड नॉट डू एनीथिंग, दे वर जस्ट गोइंग इन स्कूल एंड सिटिंग लाइक दिस. वन ऑफ द टीचर्स हु बिकेम अ पायोनियर ऑफ दिस फील्ड जस्ट गेव देम ब्लैंक पेजेस कि इनको पढ़ाएं क्या, ये तो क्योंकि दे हैड सीन द मर्डर ऑफ देयर पेरेंट्स एंड डेथ ऑफ लॉट ऑफ पीपल इन फ्रंट ऑफ देम. सेम हैपेंड एट द पार्टीशन इन इंडिया. सो दे गेव देम द पेपर्स एंड द स्टूडेंट जस्ट स्टार्टेड वेरी एंग्री. दे स्टार्टेड टू मेक सम वेरी वेरी वायलेंट इमेजेस. दे डिड इट ऑन मंडे, ट्यूसडे, वेडनेसडे, थर्सडे, sometime for 3 months. Slowly and slowly, when they literally took out everything, they started to feel normal. So there are a lot of ways you can heal trauma. One of that is narratives, the storytelling, right? Stories of pain, stories of illness. There is a theory, there is a way you narrate them. There is a training, should be a training for the teachers and caregivers. They listen carefully, they listen with empathy. है ना, आजकल के हॉस्पिटलों में जाता है ना, कोविड में हुआ था, hey don't come close to me, stand there, now tell me what happened. I'll not even touch you. But Sowa Rigpa dared to do that because their entire diagnostic is based on touch. That gave a different kind of confidence to the patient that doctor is not scared of me. Doctor is trying to feel not only my suffering. And I, so far for my research work, has taken interview of 9 Sowa Rigpa doctors. Out of 9, 5 have told me on record that sometime we feel it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes because we cannot feel that deviation. Right? I'm not a trained doctor for that, but they told, and some of them, 2 of them told me that they had tears in their eyes. Nobody even spoke a word, nobody opened the mouth. Even while feeling this disruption, they had the tears in the eyes. That is the power of touch. Touch is very limited word. Sparsh is more than that. Where the blood which you feel, the problem which you feel, starts to run in your body also. Right? And if you feel that this is a far-fetched imagery, look at this image. I'll tell you that image anyways in a while. So what are the characteristics of Sowa Rigpa? It talks about how much? Pura khatam? Okay. Then I'll just quickly take you through images. Let me not talk. Just give me 5 minutes. Let's skip this. Let me tell you some very interesting thing which I did during my research was, look at that. We contextualize the touch in the post-pandemic era. This is what happened in the hospitals across the globe. There were no doctors to touch them. So what they created, ये जो gloves होते हैं ना, they filled air in that and the patients healed on record because they felt that somebody was holding, because their children left them, their neighbors left them, their employers left them, and they were craving for the touch. And that's where I said this book, my book is saying that touch becomes the most important aspect of healing. And Sowa Rigpa is the best field where we can create a kind of theory around it. These are historic landmarks which I wanted to show, but there is no time. So anyways, this PPT I'll leave here. What happened in, this is very interesting. If you want to see the development of Sowa Rigpa after 1980s, 1990s, these are very interesting data. In 2003, 4, what happened with Sowa Rigpa, 2012, 10. You know, the Sparsh has, in Western philosophy, it has only 2 things. Your hand, that means the organ and the object. So you remember, don't go away. Do you have touch screen mobiles? So you touch your screen also. Is it the similar touch when a doctor touches a patient? No. Unfortunately, it should not be like this. If it is like this, where so what is the difference in Sowa Rigpa? The third aspect, the sense consciousness. And look at this photo. This is what Bhumish Sparsh Mudra was. I told you, I want to show you this photo. Look at this photo. If you see that this is a very recurrent thing in Tibetan community, right? Basically try to talk to them and find out what are they doing. They are literally transferring not only energy, but wisdom, but pain, but suffering, but their stories, and just holding and touching the heads. I had this personal experience when first time when I joined this university, and at one of the instances after 2 years, I come from a community where we don't touch like this, we touch the feet and that's all. That's also out of this, dhok, aise dur se, Samtanji, who was the vice chancellor that time, and he, I don't know why, whatever, my mom was ill or something was happening, he held my hand from here and he took out his topi, which he doesn't do, and he touched. Oh my God, I can't even tell you what happened. This was something miraculous. Maybe I was reading into this, maybe he had some power, maybe it was my faith in that. Suddenly I felt something different. And a lot of friends of mine, foreigners, have told me, those who are closely associated, कि हम लोगों को जब भी दलाई लामा जी ने छुआ है, we feel the sensation for 2 hours, 3 hours, weeks together in that hand. Now what is that? Now there is this gap which I am trying to fill my work, where I created a 300 pages theory of Sparsh in Tibetan Buddhism, right? So just will quickly tell you some of the, there is one very interesting book I want all of you to read. I think this is the most important book, this, Narrative Medicine by Rita Charon, and I want research scholars of Sowa Rigpa also, doctors also, they are the training programs now. In India also, there are the training programs where I think every institution should train their caregivers, doctors with a particular, though we all know touch, but when you reread it from a different perspective, you start to realize that it has a different, theory. It has itself the power to heal people, right? So this is I am using this book to explain a lot of prison narratives in Tibet. That is a part of my second book which I am writing. So Fire Under the Snow by Palden Gyatso is a kind of book where different kind of touches are used. So I'll just stop here. It's 100 PPT slides. I'll leave it here for all of you. I'll just stop here, and if the chair will permit, if anyone of you is curious to ask something or want to know anything, resources, I'll be
रियली बहुत ही इन्फॉर्मेटिव आपका प्रेजेंटेशन था। और सच कहें तो प्रिस्क्रिप्शन आपने जो दिया है, तो एक हम लोग आता है, हनुमान जी कहा जाता है, का चुप साध रहा बलवाना। हमारे जितने सारे डॉक्टर्स को आपने उनको मोटिवेट कर दिया है कि आपके पास इतनी चीज़ें हैं। रियली आई एम वेरी थैंक्स फॉर यू।
थैंक यू सर।
प्लीज़, समय तो कम, अगर किसी के पास कोई क्वेश्चन तो पूछ सकता है।
Good afternoon, sir. And thank you so much, sir, for your detailed information, explanation, very clear explanation. I have gone through some publication websites which I can't access, like Science Direct, ResearchGate. These websites shows to go through the institution website. So how can we be assist this website? I have listed some of the publication websites. So I don't have now, but I remember some of those, like Plus One, Science Direct, ResearchGate.
No need. Yeah, let me answer. Yeah. No need. All of you, this is good that you ask. All of you, please go on only 2 websites. Make your account on that. One is ResearchGate. Remember, you will be able to get your account on ResearchGate only with cists.ac.in email ID. It should be your institutional email ID. With Gmail, you can't open now. I made it when I was a research scholar. I still have my Gmail account. What you can do, second is academia.edu. What you can do, forget everything else. These 2 are enough. What you can do in the academia.edu, there will be Tibetan medicine field. Click on that and pay only 99 rupees, right? Instead of downloading one paper which takes sometime months, add together in one shot, you will be capable to download 3,000 papers with one click. Academia.edu allow you to do that, whatever is in public domain. So only 2. The third is Gestor, which you can access via our universities. We pay for that subscription. So it's not that it is only limited to research scholars who are here. Even the teachers, even the research scholars from other universities, they can come here and you can also download all those things, right? So remember only 2, academia.edu and ResearchGate. Everything else will be already part of this. And then with academia.edu, good thing is you get to know a lot of professors who are working in this area. Follow them. Whenever they will publish something new, you will get a mail. Right? Yeah. That's all. So thank you so much. I have just one request. Please explore this field. And even I want to see in future some of our students doing their research. You know, क्योंकि एक लिमिटेशन होती है ना, सर पैसा नहीं दे रही है गवर्नमेंट, मुझे इंस्ट्रूमेंट खरीदना है मेडिसिन का, मैं कैसे रिसर्च करूं? Then go to some other fields where only the narratives, the stories, and I want this to be documented. हम लोग नहीं कर सकते ना, मुझे तिब्बती नहीं आती है, आपको आती है. Distance गांव में जाइए, वहाँ के narratives, right? I hope all of you know there is an oral project on national level going for Tibetan community. है ना, जिसमें उनकी oral stories को, trauma के narratives को publish भी किया जाता है और record भी किया जाता है. That can be your case studies. This is a very, very interesting field. Very, very promising field. Touch is only one of the aspect. एक बुक मैं आपको रेकमेंड करूंगा, आप जानना चाहते हो कि सर इसमें कौन से 300 टॉपिक है जिस पे हम काम कर सकते हैं, की टर्म्स इन हेल्थ ह्यूमैनिटीज. इट जस्ट गॉट पब्लिश्ड इन 2022. 300 वो वर्ड्स हैं जिसके ऊपर आप काम कर सकते हैं. ठीक है ना? सो थैंक यू सो मच.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर महेश जी. वास्तव में आपने बहुत ही इन्फॉर्मेशन दिया है. मुझे लगता है कि 100 रुपये डॉक्टर्स इससे बहुत ही लाभान्वित होंगे. और साहित्य के ही चिकित्सक नहीं, आज तो आप 100 रुपये के भी हो गए. धन्यवाद.